all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality. And the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life, well, that's another. Which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week. To help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host for the day, Erica Middlemiss. I am just another reflection and extension of you who will be here filling in for our beloved host, Brandon Beecham, leading the way to ensure your perspective is consistently expanded, your vibration is constantly elevated, and your heart is overflowing and full. All right, all you positive heads, welcome. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me on this terrific Tuesday. It is also a solar eclipse day, so I hope you are all integrating the energies well and finding some balance within your day. Today, I've had an interesting day myself. It started off with a visitation, a medicine sign who I very rarely see. And I was very, very excited to see that this morning. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that today and also get into the concept of time being an illusion. But before I do, I'd like to read a review. Y'all know how much we love to get these and how much we love to share them. And we appreciate you so much when you write them because it helps new people find us. So this one is from Not Gonna Worry, called Fully Synchronized with 5 stars. I have been listening to this podcast for over a year now and keep digging into the archived content, finding myself blown away at the alignment with the nuggets of information that are exactly what I needed to hear when I needed to hear it. I started my spiritual awakening as an attempt to embrace the anxieties I was facing, instead of masking them. After not feeling quite a bit of the content out there, I found myself listening to this podcast, and it has shifted my mindset immensely. Now, I start every morning listening to it, followed by quick yoga flow and meditation, and I can feel my attentions aligning with my actions, and the result is unbounded abundance. Not to mention that hearing these little synchronicities sets the stage for all sorts of magic to unfold along this space-time continuum. What prompted the review was today's episode, Expectations Isn't the Enemy. And that has been something that I've been actively applying towards my relationships with the fairer sex. I've been in a lot of short-term dating situations that end because I'm attached to a specific idea or desire for that particular instance. I haven't even listened to the episode, but I know that you and your team will hit this right on the head, and I'll apply that information exactly as I need to, continuing to allow my growth edge to expand and ultimately call even more abundance with what I'm aligned with. Anyways, thanks for what you do, and hopefully I can catch you guys at Optimistic this summer. Even just for the party. Nothing but love and gratitude coming from the Rocky Mountains. Awesome. Not gonna worry. That is super freaking sweet and synchronistic. Of course, I did not read your review before I decided what I was going to talk about today. And there you go. Mentioning synchronicities and the space-time continuum. And I just appreciate you so much and am super excited about all of the things that you have been able to create in your life. And I just applaud you because you are doing it. And I thank you again for writing that review. So, as I said earlier, I had a visitation this morning as I was sitting outside for my morning time. I'm not sure if I've told you about my morning time before, but I'm pretty serious about it. I require it. It is absolute necessity, and it keeps me sane. It's the time that I spend in contemplation and in meditation. And it's alone time, which is very necessary for me. And I like to encourage all of you to do some sort of practice like that for yourself and require it. Make it a thing that you do for your self-care every day. So this morning, I was sitting in my little secret garden, I call it. It's not that fancy, but it's my little space under the tree. And I start to hear this bird. Now I have tons of birds in the backyard. So I have lots of trees and they build their nests and things, but this chirp was a distinct chirp and it was really loud. And so, of course I look over to see who's talking to me, and it was a red cardinal. And, I live in the desert of Arizona, and while we have red cardinals here, they are really, really rare to see. So it's always such a beautiful sign, and I always feel very grateful and lucky when they come around. But this little guy this morning was talking to me. And so he was over to my right, and he was chirping away. And he comes over, and he gets literally on the branch right above me and just stood there and stared at me chirping. And man, I can't tell you how much I love the red cardinal symbol, because it reminds me of my mother, who passed away 15 years ago. And of the 3 times that I've seen a cardinal here in Arizona, the first time was also in my backyard, not this backyard, but a different house. And at that point, I'm telling you guys this story too, because I hope that it helps you in some way make sense of something that's going on in your life. Anyway, so I was really upset about my mom's death. I was 27 years old when she died, and I had a 1-year-old, 1 year, 2 months old, and I was a single mom, and then I lose my mom, and I was young. And so it was, it was a pretty tough time. It was also the catalyst for my spiritual growth. So I'm grateful for the experience. At the same time, you miss your mom as a girl. And so one day I was just really upset about it. And I went and sat in the bathroom, this little powder room I had off the kitchen. And I had the little fan on too. And I was just crying away, thinking about my mom. And I heard this bird outside, like loud. And what's interesting is it was summer. All the windows were closed because it's hot here. So the air conditioning is on. And I'm in a bathroom with white noise. But I hear this bird clear as day. And it dawns on me. And I'm like, Mom, is that you? So my mother always loved red cardinals and blue jays. And for some reason, I just thought to myself, if that is a red cardinal, I'm going to know that that's you, Mom. So I go outside, and sitting in my tree was this red cardinal just chirping away. And it was such a comfort, knowing that my mother was with me. And it took me also listening to my intuition to have that understanding. And so I just wanted to relay that story along. If any of you have seen any spirit animals or even red cardinals have been known for being messengers of our deceased loved ones. So if you've been seeing red cardinals, maybe that is one of your loved ones coming to say hello. I looked up the spirit totem to see what they had to say. It is the Spirit Animal Totem website. And the quote they had listed for Cardinal is, "Listen closely to your intuition and pay attention. Follow through on the guidance found there." And I think that's interesting because I had to listen to my intuition and pay attention and follow through to go see, is this, and make that kind of talk with my higher self and my mom, is this really what's happening here? And then I can make those discernments. Yes, this is, because this is what you set up for me. So yeah, I think it's also really interesting that how cardinals have such a distinct chirp, and it's like they're trying to get your attention. And so to have pay attention be part of their quote, I found that pretty interesting. So yeah, So maybe the message for today is listen to our intuition and pay attention. So that's just a little aside for the day, a little story to share. Today, being the solar eclipse, I thought I'd share also a blurb that was written by my friend Laura Eisenhower, who's an amazing astrologist. And she wrote a little bit about what the energies are like today and moving forward here in time. She says, for the solar eclipse on the 2nd at 12:15 Pacific Standard Time, connecting with the earth will be very powerful. The Cancer energy is the mother that we are healing within ourselves through reconciling our relationship with our own mother, how we are as a mother, or how we nurture or support others, especially those in need. We must address how we nurture ourselves, what needs within us need to be met, what changes do we need to make in our lives to better support our emotions, our bodies, our sensitivities, and self-love. Breathe deep and connect to the inner divine feminine who will be integrating the higher father energies if we can consciously connect with it mid-month when the partial lunar eclipse happens in Capricorn. We need to release things in our own masculine side and look at where we have been taught to not feel or acknowledge our emotions. Where have we been told it is weak? And where have we felt the need to fight, dominate, control, or succeed financially in order to feel strong or capable? Look deeply into both sides of this within the self. We all have different ways of relating to the masculine and feminine within. Some are societal programmings, and some is about the struggle to emerge in truth and personal inner freedom from that kind of conditioning. And so stress and depression or anger may be throwing us off balance. Let this time be a major reset. Allow the divine union within to be illuminated and feel the energy circulation of the right and left to return. Visualize it and claim it. So that is, in a nutshell, what's going on energetically. And Laura puts that so well. So I thought I'd share that with you all. And I also thought it very, very interesting that this was a time that we are reconciling our relationship with our mother. And I got a little visitation from my mother this morning. So very, very cool. Little synchronicity today. So on to the actual topic that I'd like to discuss about time being an illusion. And of course, I found a passage in one of my favorite books and also, synchronistic for my bird story, The Return of the Bird Tribes. It is chapter 17, The Medicine Wheel of Eternal Being. This is how it begins. When you examine the nature of that pure essence of beauty behind the perfection of both masculine and feminine, you find God. Because at the source, at the core, at the heart of all that is feminine is God. And at the heart, at the core, at the source of all that is masculine is God. The same God, the one, the great Spirit. Such is the nature of God. God is indescribably beautiful, indescribably wonderful, indescribably precious, powerful, gentle, real. God is these qualities to such a perfect extent that God's only challenge is to pursue description of such indescribable perfection. So the Great Spirit picks a place in the infinite ocean of space, draws a line, and calls it time. And I think that is an absolutely beautiful description of time and why time is created, so that God can pursue description of indescribable perfection. Describing things that are indescribable means we have to experience everything, all the possibilities, all the probabilities that are out there in this infinite universe, so God can know itself. And so, keeping within my true form, I also found some Dolores Cannon work that is talking about time. And this is in Keepers of the Garden, chapter 6. Time is not something which can be traveled through. Time actually does not exist. Time is a concept. Time is not an existing material or function. It is simply a concept. This delineation or laying out of events is strictly for the advantage of human comprehension. Everything is simultaneous, so everything that did happen or will happen is happening. Time is simply a concept which humans have devised in order to better understand or to bring to their level that which is around them. Dolores often talked about time being an illusion, and she always said that mankind is probably the only species in the universe that has found a way to measure something that does not exist. And I found a really cool clip about this, and it is Bashar's talk from the Conscious Life Expo this year, which is in Los Angeles every year in February. And so this is just the beginning of his talk there. So take a listen.
Now, the idea of creating this is to give you a particular experience that allows you to forget that you are a greater being, and then go through a process of remembering that you are a greater being, but from a new point of view, a new discovery, a new perspective of yourself. This is how creation expands, because you see, the structure of existence never changes. What changes, what expands creation, is your relationship to, your reflection of, your perspective of, and your experience of that structure that never changes. So by creating these different perspectives, these different points of view of the same structure, you continue to expand creation, and all that is can experience itself in all the ways that it's possible to experience itself through each and every one of your unique viewpoints, being reflections of all that is. But the idea now is that for many millennia, you have been dealing with this concept of time in certain ways, but now it's time to start dealing with time in a different way. First and foremost, by even knowing and understanding that it is your projection, that it is a side effect of your consciousness, shifting these billions of times per second, the product of knowing that, the product of becoming aware that you're already shifting that quickly, is what creates this sensation you call acceleration. It's not that you actually accelerate or shift any faster than you have always been shifting. It's that by becoming more aware of the rate of shift, you experience it as a reflection in your physical reality more and more and more, and it appears as if your reality is actually accelerating. This expands your senses so that you can see more, feel more, be in touch with more things from a broader perspective, a higher point of view. And it allows you to experience physical reality as more flexible, more malleable, more plastic, where you can experience things like synchronicity more often, and other kinds of side effects of space and time that allow you to know that it is your projection, that it is your creation, and you can begin to have more conscious awareness of how to use it artistically to your advantage. The idea now, as we titled this, is that you have for a long time been anchored to this concept of the past creating your present. And as we have said many times, this is not actually true. It may be a description of the kind of experience you're having, but there's a big difference between a description of an experience from your space-time point of view and a description of the actual mechanism underlying the experience. Two very different things very often. So the idea that you experience in space-time is that your past generates your present. In truth, your present generates your past. Because there is only now. There is only here. This is the only place you exist. It is the only place you create from. Therefore, when you define who and what you are in this present experience of yourself, by changing yourself literally into a different person every moment, and I mean this literally, it's not a metaphor, every moment, any change, total and complete change, you are a different person literally, on a different version of Earth literally, in a different multiverse literally. Therefore, every single time you change yourself, by whatever amount or degree, in whatever way, you are truly a new person. So in working through the idea of the framework of space-time, to make it make sense, logically, as you say, you have to have, linearly speaking, a new past that determines how you became the person you are now in the present that's different. So every single time you become a different person, that different person has a new past. Now, the idea may not seem to be that. You may go, well, I remember being this, and I remember being that, and that doesn't seem to have changed. But the point is, you don't actually know whether it's changed or not. Because when you become a new person and create a new past, it's going to seem from your present perspective that you always had that past, because that's the only past that makes sense for the person you are now. You don't know how many pasts you may have had in this life you call a single lifetime. The idea is that your history is constantly dynamically changing. When you understand that's how it works, when you understand that that's a description of the actual underlying mechanism at work, then regardless of what the experience appears to be, you will start to realize that you are changing your past every moment that you change yourself by any degree of definition. And that means you are free, truly, to experience whatever you prefer to experience, unlocking yourself from the idea of anything in the past that controls you in the present, which it doesn't. You simply create the illusion of continuity that in the present recreates the idea of the so-called memory, but the memory is not of the past. You're recreating that memory in the present as part of the definition of your present self. So if you break continuity and stop defining yourself that way, you actually will experience the results of having a different past, because it will show you that you have a completely different present that has nothing at all to do with what the past used to be for whoever that other person was that is no longer you. Is this making some sense? We understand that sometimes these higher dimensional concepts can seem a little bit challenging, a little bit confusing, but don't worry, you'll get used to it. The idea is that you are beginning to think multidimensionally, and this is why we share multidimensional perspectives with you, because it stretches your ability to really experience yourself as a multidimensional being, which is what you are. Please remember that the idea is your greater self is your natural state. You are not really naturally physical people. You are greater non-physical entities, non-physical consciousness. You never really actually leave what we'll call the spirit realm. You have never left it. You're there right now, dreaming that you're not. That's what physical reality is. A dream you are having in spirit that you're no longer in spirit. So when you wake up from the physical dream, you go, oh, that was just a dream. This is who I really am. Much in the same way when you are physical and wake up from a dream, no matter how real the dream seemed in your sleep time, you wake up and go, oh, that was just a dream. Very real dream, but that was just a dream, and this is who I really am. The same thing will happen when you transition into spirit. Oh, that was just a dream. This is who I really am, but I can learn from that dream. What is it I went there to learn? What is it I dreamt I needed to know? That's what you will do. But continuing on with the idea of how you use space and time in a new way, in this new understanding, is that, as we have said, for a long time, you anchored yourself into this concept of the past. But now, as you transition and you start living more in the present, you begin to realize that you are free to choose where the so-called influence actually comes from. If you want to create this concept of continuity and being influenced by something, you can switch the idea of being influenced from your so-called past to starting to be influenced from your so-called future self. Because even in this life, you have future selves every moment. Now you are here, now you are here, now you are here. But this here was the future of that first now you are here. So the idea is that every moment as you're shifting again billions of times per second, you can begin to shift your focus forward, so to speak, still living in the present, but understanding that you're now drawing information, energy, and experience, not so much from the past anymore, unless it serves you to do so, but now from the future you, who is urging you and encouraging you forward and forward and forward into your higher self, into the self you prefer to be. And as this switch occurs, and as this focus shifts, You will begin to feel more communication from the higher mind, more synchronicity in your life, because you know that the future you, or what you deem to be the future you, is living that way. And so as that becomes more real for you, as you in the future become more real to you in the present, in the same way that the you in the so-called past has been real for you for so long, as you shift that focus to the future you and that becomes more real, you will gain more insight. You will be able to be and mirror that version of you more and more easily, more and more effortlessly, and you will start living the life in the present of what you deem the future to be. Is this making some sense? So you are shifting your focus now because, again, as we say, this so-called past and the present and the future all exist within you. There is no out there. It is a reflection, just like a mirror in your reality. If you're looking in a mirror and you see your reflection frowning, you don't go over to the mirror and shout at it to change the reflection. The only way the mirror will be able to smile at you is if you smile first. If you are waiting for the outer reality to change to make a difference in your life, you will wait forever. But when you decide to change, no matter what's going on around you in the reflection, that is proof of true change, because you're not making your change conditional on what's going on in the outer reflection. You're saying that doesn't really matter to me because I know that I can allow anything to serve me in a positive way. I am not basing my state of being on the old-fashioned, outdated meanings that others have given to what's going on in this reality. I get to decide what this means. I get to decide what the definitions are that work for me because I am my own reality. I am my own unique point of view. And I get to say what goes. So the idea is for you to start relaxing the old definitions and realize at any given moment what definitions you are applying to things that don't work for you and start applying definitions that do. Because as you have experienced, existence is going to support you no matter what you choose. It doesn't really contradict you. It can't. Again, in the same way that the mirror can't contradict you for whatever your facial expression is. It has to give you back what it is you're giving off. That's simply the way it's structured. So if it has supported you when you're frowning and given you negative synchronicity, why wouldn't it support you when you decide to smile and get positive synchronicity? It will not contradict you. It absolutely will not, because it's waiting for you to determine who you are, what state of being you prefer, so it can reflect that to you. It doesn't care what you choose because it's unconditionally supportive. That's what unconditional means. You are so unconditionally supported, in fact, you are even allowed to believe that you are not unconditionally supported. That's how unconditionally supported you are. So if you can believe that you are not unconditionally supported, you're not going to be contradicted when you start to believe that you are supported unconditionally. It's just that you have the control. So allow yourself to take the time to explore the idea of connecting more to your own future self in this life, knowing that your future self is already experiencing simultaneously the kinds of things that you prefer to experience in your life now, in the present, so that you can act more like that version of you and become more like that version of you in the new presents that keep coming as you flow your projector light through the present frame, present frame, present frame, present frame, and by acting on your passion and staying in your center and staying in the positive state and extracting the benefit from whatever is happening, then you navigate yourself through all the frames that are more and more and more and more indicative and reflective of that reality you say you prefer to experience, because you're the one creating that within yourself. It's not coming from outside, it's coming from within you. One final very important thing is that to remember, it doesn't matter what happens. It matters what you do with what happens. That's what makes the difference in your reality. It makes all the difference in the world. Does that make sense? Yes. Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to share this idea. Let it sink in its own good time. Make it your own. Use it how you will, and have fun with it. Remember, the first step toward enlightenment is to lighten up. Don't take things so seriously. Have some fun. It's a process. Life is a process, but it can be an energizing, exciting, ecstatic, synchronistic one if you allow it to be. Each and every one of you has a current in the ocean of creation that is unique to you. Going with the flow means you allow yourself to know that the current knows where you need to go. Go with that flow. Don't resist. Don't swim upstream. Unless, of course, you enjoy pain. The idea is to know that surrender is not surrendering control. Surrender is surrendering to the control that's already innately built into you. Allow it to express itself through synchronicity, through imagination, through being here and now, which is all there is.
So that was pretty jam-packed with some really good explanation and analogy. I really enjoyed the analogy he used of the movie projector, shining the light through the frames, and also relating that to the holographic existence that we are, because if you know how a hologram works, you have to shine a light through it in order to see that object or that holographic image. And what he was saying at the very beginning was super in line with what I read from Dolores's book. He was saying how we create time in our consciousness so that we can then have this experience. The other thing I thought was interesting too, the point about there are infinite probable realities overlapping and existing simultaneously with what we consider our reality to be. So that's a big one right there, because with what we consider our reality to be. So that means if you consider your reality to be peaceful and harmonious, then you get a peaceful and harmonious reality because that's what you consider it to be. If you consider your reality to be fearful and dangerous, then that is your reality. So that is such a good point. Dolores Cannon also talks about that all the time, that you see what you, with your perspective, that's what is actually creating your reality. And I think Bashar really laid that out very, very nicely here. And the whole point of this is so that we can have the experience that allows us to forget that we actually are great and powerful beings. So we go through this forgetting process, so then we can then go through a process of remembering again with a whole different new perspective. And in that way, that's how we co-create and expand the universe as co-creators. And God gets to experience everything there is to experience through us, because we are all aspects of God feeding back this information all of the time. Little mirrors reflecting back all of this experience. And when he talked about when we can understand or have an awareness of this projection of reality, that our awareness and our perception is what creates our reality, the more we are aware of that, then that's what actually creates this acceleration that we feel like is an acceleration of time, but isn't. It just feels that way. And when we are aware of this, the more and more we are, the more we expand our senses and broaden our perspectives and experience synchronicities. So if you're someone who's experiencing synchronicities all the time, seeing the number combinations all the time, then you know that you have this awareness, that you know that with your perception, you are creating your own reality. Speaking of numbers, I woke up at exactly 4:44 this morning. It's not that early for me. I get up at 5 o'clock on a regular so I can have my morning time. But today was 4:44. So signs like that from the universe are those things that show us that we are on the right path and that we are allowing this knowing and this awareness that we create our reality more and more. This is a pretty trippy concept to think about and wrap our brains around. And, you think about things like the mandala effect when he was talking about the present generating the past. There's only the now, and now is where we create from. And we're a different person with every change. And so is that how the mandala effect came about? Probably. I mean, it really makes sense that collectively we have changed. Yeah. So then our past has changed. And some of us just remember because the veil is thinning. So I think that's a really good way to look at it and try to make some sense out of this super difficult concept of time being an illusion. But I think it's important because by understanding this, like he was talking about our past stories. So if we can change the story, then we can change our present and have a whole different experience and see ourselves as our greater self and our real self. And when you can think about it like that, the spirit world is what's really real. We never leave that world. And it's like a dream coming here. Have you ever heard that saying, the dreamer dreams the dream? Yes. We dream the dream, we create the reality, we get to do all of it. And just with our thoughts, we can shift our focus and be able to mirror that version of ourself, that higher version of ourself, more and more and more. Because like he said, there is no out there. So your mirror only smiles if you do. So when we shift our focus, we won't be waiting for that outer change, that reality, our outer reality to change, and we won't be waiting around forever. So changing ourself is the true change because it's unconditional of the outside reality. You decide what works. You apply the definitions, and then the universe has to mirror you. You are unconditionally supported. It all comes from within. So it doesn't matter what happens in life. It only matters what you do with it. So the best point at the end, the first step towards enlightenment is to lighten up and to have fun. Go with the flow, see where the current takes you, and surrender to it. And be here now in this moment. That's all there is this present now. So I hope you all enjoyed that clip and this discussion today. I think it's interesting to tie it all into the vegetation story from earlier, because when time is an illusion, we can remember that those loved ones of ours who have passed and who we don't necessarily see in our physical reality anymore, we know that they are always present with us because time is just an illusion. So everyone, I picked a song for today that is in remembrance of any of our family members who have transitioned to the other side. This song is called Uncle Joe, sung by Trevor Hall and Nako. Till next time, everyone. Love you all.
I called Uncle Joe. He told me about bear and the buffalo. He told me that the roots deep for the soul. We'll put it in the stars and we let go. I guess Mama heard that prayer and so a few months later, see, we hit the road. Yeah, we hit the road. On a chariot of flames, I was chanting the name. The hummingbird came and so it flows. I was in need of the medicine, the company of my brethren. The elk grew antlers once again. Hoka, hey, hey, hey. And that's what we would say when the morning came. All through the day, see the Rama praises is straight. Oh, Hannah, oh, grandfather, show the way. Yeah. Let the song, sipping from the third eye all day long. Melodies come, we fill our cup, take a new birth and open up. Well, into the world we come to play, and so we say, hello friend, hello friend, hello friend. Oh, oh, hello friend, hello friend, hello friend. Oh, oh, hello friend, hello friend, hello friend. Oh, oh, hello friend, hello friend, hello friend. Yeah.
Oh, I crack into your soul. Pull back your bow, let your arrow go. Light up the totem written on the wall. Wild cub standing very tall. Uncle to uncle, keep the boys all together. Lost and found on the road to recover each other. A lover on a wild Mustang. I was bitten out flame. The animal kingdom came. We say, well, I was in need of the brotherhood. A council of men who understood. The bear climbed from his cave and looked. Time to play. That's what we would say when the evening came. All through the day, Creator, I sing. This is Hare Rama, Pachamama, show the way. Let the hummingbird come teach us song. Drinking of the nectar, palm to palm. Allies come to fill our well. Meaningful music keeps me filled. Into the world we come to play. So we say, hello friend, hello friend, hello friend.